Today's lesson is on applications of linear equations. So remembering what we did yesterday, linear equations are of the form y equals mx plus b, where m is your slope, b is your y-intercept. So talking about slope, we also think of it as a ratio or a rate. So slope can be interpreted as either a ratio or a rate. Okay, it says if the x and y axis have the same unit of measure, then the slope has no units and is a ratio. Okay, if the x and y axis have different units of measure, then we typically say that slope is a rate, or we talk about it or refer to it as a rate of change. All right, so let's take a look at our first example. It says the maximum recommended slope of a wheelchair ramp is 1/12. A business is installing a wheelchair ramp that rises 22 inches over a horizontal length of 24 feet. Is the ramp steeper than recommended? So that's what we need to think about. Is it steeper than recommended? So that means we have to find what the slope is. So if we look at it, they said, remember, slope we can think about as rise over run. Let's not forget that. So the rise in this case, it says rises 22 inches over a horizontal length of 24 feet. So I have 22 inches over 24 feet. All right, so remember, since this is a ratio, we have to have the same units of measure. So I'm going to go ahead and convert everything to inches, since 22 inches is a fraction of the number of feet. So that means I'm going to have 22 over 24 times 12, because there's 12 inches in a foot. So we're going to get 22 over 288. And then if we reduce that, we get 11 over 144. And if we compare them, it is not equal to 1/12, okay, because 11 over 144 is approximately 0.0763, and 1/12 is approximately 0.0833. Okay, so is it steeper than recommended? We would say no, it is not steeper than recommended. So therefore, not steeper than recommended. So we are good to go with this ramp. All right, example 2. It says a kitchen appliance manufacturing company determines that the total cost in dollars of producing X units of a blender is C equals 25X plus 3,500. Describe the practical significance of the y-intercept and the slope of this line. So if we're thinking about this, if X is the number of units being produced and our y-intercept is 3,500, that means if I produce 0 units, so 25 times 0, my cost at producing no units, even if I don't produce one, that means I still have a $3,500 cost. Okay, so we could say the initial cost is $3,500. Okay, and if it talks about the slope, since it's 25x, that means each unit must cost $25 a piece to produce. Okay. All right, moving on to example 3. It says a college purchased exercise equipment worth $12,000 for the new campus fitness center. The equipment has a useful life of 8 years. The salvage value at the end of the 8 years is $2,000. Write a linear equation that describes the book value of the equipment. Okay, so let's see, when we first purchased the equipment, no years have gone by. So that's our starting. So that's going to be 0, 12,000. Okay, and then it says the salvage value at the end of the 8 years. So after 8 years, it's only worth $2,000. So it says write a linear equation that describes the book value. So we have to write a linear equation. So a linear equation is y equals mx plus b. So let's find our slope. So I'm going to do 12,000 minus 2,000 all over 0 minus 8. So we get 10,000 over negative 8, which is negative 1,250. So that's our slope. All right, we already know our y-intercept because remember the y-intercept is where the graph crosses the y-axis, and that means our x value is 0. So this right here is our y-intercept. So we don't even have to do that work. So my linear equation is going to be y equals negative 1,250x plus 12,000. Right, we have one more example to go over. And just remember, I cannot possibly go over every different type of example, so I'm just trying to go over a bunch of different ones that'll give you an idea of what you're going to be looking at today. All right, so the last one, it says the sales per share for Starbucks Corporation were $6.97 in 2001 and $8.47 in 2002. Using only this information, write a linear equation that gives the sales per share in terms of the year, and then we have to predict the sales per share for 2003. All right, so again, they pretty much just gave us two ordered pairs. So year is going to be our independent variable, so that's our x. So in 2001, they were $6.97. Then in 2002, they were $8.47. So now using this, we have to find our slope. So I'm going to do 8.47 minus 6.97 all over 2002 minus 2001. So we get 1.5 over 1, which is just 1.5. All right, so I'm going to pick a point. I'm just going to go ahead and use the first point. So hang on, that was our slope. So now we have to find our y-intercept. So my y value is 6.97. Put my first step and my second step. So y equals m times my x value plus b. So 6.97 equals 3001.5. And then if I solve this, I find that b is negative 2,994.5. Okay, so that means my equation will be y equals 1.5x minus 2,994.5. Okay, so that's our equation. Let me get a different color. All right, but we're not done because they asked for something else. Okay, it says then predict the sales per share for 2003. So x represents our year. So all I have to do is substitute that into my equation now. So I'm going to get y equals 1.5 times 2003 minus 2994.5. So we get y equals 3004.5. So that means the cost of a share in 2003, according to this, and as long as it's a linear model, is 9.97. Okay, I did look this up. I don't remember when, but we looked it up and it actually was a pretty good prediction because the actual sale was $10.35 per share. So it's not too bad of a prediction. And then down here at the bottom, I just have a summary of the equations of lines where the general form is a vertical line, horizontal line. A and B here are just numbers for the vertical line. So any vertical line is x equals a number. Any horizontal line is y equals a number. Slope-intercept form is there, point slope. And then two-point form, we never really hear that, but two-point form is just where you use the 2 points to find the slope, and then you plug the 2 points into the problem. Okay, so don't let that two-point form confuse you.